Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free, and it better be a good comment or I'll send Aaron after you. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on Candid Frank Live, joining me is wait, I just got a call. What do you mean Aaron doesn't scare you? Do you really know the guy? Have you ever seen him play goal? It's scary. All right. So that's off the cuff. Sorry. Anyway. Anywho, hey buddy, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh man. Oh man. You know how I love personal complaints. We got stuck behind the school bus.
Oh goodness.
And I said, I think we can make it back in time. Got behind the school bus and it stopped every block, and it's on a main artery where it's stopping.
Oh
So
goodness.
it wasn't pleasant. I'm glad I made it in time to start the show, and I'm glad you're here, and there's lots of great news to talk about. And the first thing I want to tell people is that Aaron and Frank will be back with Leaf Talk. We're going to talk about the Maple Leafs with the playoffs coming up. We're all wanting to know what goes on there, and we'll see how long the show lasts.
Uh,
Ends up becoming NHL playoff talk. We'll see how soon that happens. Well, listen, let's think positive, Aaron. But
oh,
before we
I'm
think,
positive we'll be able to talk about the Leafs for at least a series.
okay, let's talk about the Canadian Football League first. Touchdown Atlanta game sells out, and I
Yep.
understand very quickly.
It did. This was one of those things where I don't think they even expected that, but Touchdown Atlantic actually sold out in about an hour. So if you were planning on going to the game in Wolfville, Nova Scotia on July 16th at 3, if you don't have your ticket, you're SOL. Looks like you're going to be buying resale. So good luck with that.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I mean, if you're from Toronto, you're not going there just in the hope that you can do a resale. But it should be a lot of fun. It's always a wonderful party down east. Every time down east is fun, period. The Argos,
Right. The Argonauts have signed American running back Javon Leake. He spent time with the Detroit Lions in 2021 after playing one game for the Washington Commanders back in 2020. He's 6 foot, 206 pounds. Signed as an undrafted free agent in April by the New York Giants after 3 years at the University of Maryland, where he ran for 1,144 yards and 17 touchdowns, while also returning kicks for 1,445 yards.
the Red Blacks.
They're at it again. They've actually rounded out their coaching staff. What they basically did was they've added Fair, it's Mike Fair, and the former Carlton Ravens interim head coach, Paul-Eddie Saint-Villiers, who's joining as a defensive assistant. So they're stocking up in that regard. Now, Fair has previous experience as well. He's also worked with the Bucs and the Seahawks, helping Tampa Bay to a Super Bowl victory in 2003.
Yesterday, I did a Zoom call with, now I forgot who it was. Oh, my goodness. Well, today did the Argos in Winnipeg. And Mike Pinball Clemens denied that the Argos voted to look into 4 downs.
I'd heard about that.
And I believe him. I believe that he didn't vote. I believe he didn't vote. I don't, on the Argos. I believe him. He's a trustworthy chap. But then again, and when it comes to conversations, right, one has to pay attention to wording. And for those of you that pay attention to U.S. news, you'll know that Marjorie Taylor Greene answered whenever she was asked about something that she did was kind of illegal. She would say, "I don't remember saying that."
Perjury, Taylor Greene?
Well, yeah. um, you know. So anyway, and I'm not comparing the two, by the way. I just want to make that clear. That words matter, anyways, what I'm getting at. The Golden Knights, they lost, and unfortunately, along with that loss, the Stars we round out the dancers at the NHL playoffs.
So this was an instance where the Golden Knights had to win. I don't think a win after tying was going to help them at all in any of this, and it does look like they have actually been almost officially eliminated. They're currently 2 points ahead of Vancouver with 2 games remaining in the season. So that's still a question there. It's a possibility. If Vegas is going to make it, they're really going to need some help. I'm hoping, however, that Vancouver will come out on top because I'd like to see them get back to the show.
Well, it doesn't
You
look
know.
good. I'm disappointed already with Winnipeg out, and I'm not happy with Vancouver being out. I like that team. That team could do some damage in the playoffs, and I'm afraid they won't get a chance. Speaking of not getting a chance in the playoffs, the Montreal Canadiens.
Right. Now, they are going to be playing New York. The Canadians are currently mired in a bit of a skid. And when I say bit of, I mean 9 games.
It'll end soon. Don't worry.
Well, yeah, in another couple of games, I'm sure the streak
It'll
will
end
be over. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it's interesting to note that Montreal is currently only scoring 2.6 goals a game. That is the lowest goals for total in the NHL.
Aaron,
So
I got a question. Is Carey Price playing in the right net?
I'm wondering about that on occasion.
Is he in the right net?
He was actually, I think, pulled partially through their last games as well. I think he might have re-aggravated something, or they were just
I
trying to
know
save
he's
him the
gone to New
embarrassment.
York.
One of the two.
He's gone to New York for tests.
Yeah. So
Wow.
his comeback hasn't been good.
And the whole theory of him coming back this late in the season wasn't about salvaging the season for the Montreal Canadiens. It was salvaging a positive opinion that would cause him to come back next year with the hope for he and his team that he could play next year. This isn't what they wanted to hear. This does not fit into the narrative that they were looking for.
No, it's definitely not the way they want to have it end. Going 1-9-0 in their last 10 games is just not healthy for anybody. So it's a difficult time for the Habs. I don't envy them in the position that they're in. I don't take very much pleasure in it either. As a Leafs fan, normally I'd like to gloat about this sort of thing. But
Excuse me?
This is an absolute curb
Excuse
stomping,
me?
man. It sucks.
A Leaf fan that doesn't choose an opportunity to go, thank God they're the ones on the wrong end of history.
Oh no, I know they're on the wrong end of history. They know they're on the wrong end of history. I just don't believe in kicking
And that's
anybody
enough for
when
you.
you're down.
And that's enough.
Yeah,
You're too nice. That's true what
I'm
they
too
say
nice.
about Leaf
I
fans.
really
You're
am.
too nice. They're way too nice. Speaking of nice, the Senators have not made the playoffs this year, but they have played in a very nice way in regards to their fans following the team. They have hope, I think. I'm sure.
Definitely, and with Drake Batherson coming back, not only did he score in regulation time, he also scored in overtime. Tim Stützle had a shorthanded goal. Thomas Chabot also scored for Ottawa. It was fun hockey to watch. And again, this is something I've been saying all season. The Senators may not win a lot of games, but their hockey is entertaining. You can see the potential. You can see the team starting to come together. So it's good to see, and that there's a bit of a future there. Now they only had 13,101 fans in attendance at Canadian Tire Center, but it is what it is.
We don't like that. That's not good.
No.
The Canucks, Quinn Hughes.
Right, he actually set a scoring record, so this is good. And again, this is a team that isn't quite out of it yet. Right, they still have 2 games left. They're 2 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights. There is still a possibility for them to get into the playoffs. Now, Quinn actually had a goal and 2 assists and set a franchise record for points by a Canucks defenseman, which is great. Oliver Ekman-Larsson added a goal and assist. Sheldon Dries and JT Miller and Luke Schenn also scored. And Connor Garland contributed with 3 assists. That's as the Canucks dumped the Kraken 5-2.
And the other Connor outshone Crosby.
Definitely. This was actually to seal up second place in their particular division. Connor McDavid helped the Oilers get past the Penguins 5-1. So it was a great game to watch as well. I don't mind staying up late for these sorts of things.
And if you like old-fashioned smash your mouth hockey, the Calgary Flames, they are the poster child for old-fashioned physical punishing hockey, and the team that they played and that they might be playing in the first round of the playoffs, the Nashville Predators, they gave an introductory to what a playoff round would look like with them.
Definitely, and this was one of those physical, close checking games that you as a player that played the way I did, I love to see this sort of thing.
So
And
close.
yeah, right, right up close and personal.
So close. They definitely they're like Italians. They talk with their hands. Not just kidding. The Maple Leafs, Matthews got his 59th and 60th goal, and I loved the goal to make 60. That was a Matthews goal through and through with one of his best qualities, which is ragging the puck. I mean, the guy, you'd think he was playing in a beer league the way he handles that puck and that blue line. And there are people are trying to intimate, oh, don't look because it might have been. It wasn't offside, for goodness sake.
If it was offside, Detroit's coach would have thrown the challenge flag faster than you could possibly imagine.
Anybody would have. The goalie
Yeah,
would have. He didn't want to be the one that now, and for the next 100 years, they'll be showing, Matthews scoring on, and he played a great game. Detroit was defensively very, very sound. Nothing like the last game they played. It was what, 27-26? What was it? No, 10-7.
something like that. Yeah, it was a touchdown and a field goal to a touchdown.
They look good. Detroit looked really good, I gotta say.
No, there is some positivity there. One of the other takeaways was Tyler Bertuzzi wasn't able to play, and again, this is because he's unvaccinated and was therefore unable to cross the border. He's not helping his team, but that is what it is.
Again, we can get into this topic and get into the weeds. At the end of the day, there are rules. There's going to be. I can tell you this, Aaron. Soon there will be a lot of conversations going on. Well, it started with the NBA, lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, all the sports now have gone one circle around, everything's back open again. But the vaccination thing, in basketball, we were introduced to that. In baseball, do you think they'll go through the whole season not allowing people who are unvaccinated to come to Toronto? And do you think if they don't, will it be because MLB will be putting some political pressure on?
I hesitate to say that the government would cave to big business interests, but we've seen it happen in the past. It's not entirely unexpected. As it currently stands, I know that a lot of the mask mandates and everything else were supposed to be out of here by the end of last week. So around the 21st, everything was supposed to be dropped. And that doesn't look like it's changing. So,
oh, well, there's some furor going on. What's this about? I don't know. Major League Baseball has a big problem with Mets.
Right. This is a bit of an issue that they've had. There are some complaints. A lot of people were upset about baseball and pitchers using stuff on the ball to get more spin out of it. So
every so often, sorry, I'm sorry. You go. I let you go.
I was going to say, so baseball said, well, we're going to fix this. A, you can't use sicky stuff. And B, we're going to make the ball smoother, which means it's harder for pitchers to grip the ball, and they're not getting as much spin, which means there's less control when it comes to pitching. And the Mets, there's a bit of frustration because through 19 games, Mets batters have been hit 18 times. That's at a rate of 1 a game. And usually batters getting hit by pitches is a very rare thing. Continuing on in that same vein, 2 Mets were hit today in the game. There was actually a bench-clearing brawl approximately an hour and 10 minutes ago in a game that the Cardinals won 10-5. So you wonder about that sort of thing, right? Maybe there's something there.
The Blue Jays, Bichette hits a tie-breaking grand slam. That was 2 nights ago. Last night, we had Springer tie the game in the bottom of the 9th, and then they went to extra innings, and then Romano pitches out of a bases-loaded, none-out situation. Holy moly, Aaron. I mean, is it October or April?
Honestly, it feels like Little League Sandlot ball that they're playing out there, but they're getting wins, so I really don't think anybody particularly cares. But yeah, I mean, Springer hit the 2-run homer to force extra innings, and Raim El Taipa hit a game-ending sac fly in the 10th. So, this is one of those things. They walked Guerrero to begin the 10th, and then Alejandro Kirk walked. Then Matt Chapman struck out. Then Tapia hit a fly ball to left on the ninth pitch of his at bat.
Yep. They got him
So,
because he was a contact hitter. You couldn't have a
yeah.
better situation than that. The other thing to note is that we talked about the Blue Jays and how they've been doing. It's been amazing how their pitching has done. And now it's getting a chance to recover because it had a tough first week where they were the starting. Relievers pitched more innings than the starters in the first couple of weeks. So it's been a real interesting situation. The Raptors, they won a game, then won another game since they now it was like never happened before 3-0 to win a series. To 43 teams have won. No, 13. I apologize. 13 teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit, and only 4 teams have come back from a 3. It's the other way around. Anyway,
I
the
get what you're
point
trying
is,
to say there,
the
but it's a
point is,
very
oh
rare
man,
thing.
I'm tripping all over myself because I don't have this written down, and I'm just mentioning that the odds. It's not like hockey, and I wonder, Aaron, what I wanted to ask you as us being hockey fans, and we love basketball too, but I think at our root we're hockey fans, and is it because basketball players don't have the belief? Is it the game that doesn't afford? Because in hockey, when you're ahead 3-0, you start panicking because a 4-3 comeback is very possible, and you know it.
No, and
It's a
we've
different
we've always
attitude.
we've always mentioned that basketball, like lacrosse, is a game of runs.
Right.
One team is going to rip off 14 or 15 points at a time, and you're going to be trying to play catch up. I don't know if you get to a certain point where players just think it's insurmountable, but the fact that the Raptors absolutely walked the Philadelphia 76ers, what was it, 103-88, was just absolutely fantastic to watch. And you had fans leaving with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I'm looking at that 15-point lead, and I'm thinking to myself,
Gonna
that's a
fade.
5 or 6 possession game.
It's
Four
gonna
minutes
fade.
left.
It's gonna
4 minutes
fade.
left.
It
Right?
didn't.
No.
It's gonna fade. No, it didn't. Yeah.
Oh,
Toronto sports fans who aren't, deep rooted basketball fans, I really believe the way they're looking at it, they're going, so what's the big deal? I don't think as a group, Toronto sports fans that are following the Raptors, they're being informed. I don't know how many of them know, and whether it's settled in, that how amazing if the Raptors can win the next game and go to Philadelphia for a game 7 with a chance to do something no other NBA team has done. Now, it hasn't been around 100 years like hockey, but it's been around for a while. The NBA basketball has been around for a while, and that's a pretty interesting record. And the coaching to me is amazing. You know, and it's fun to watch the team, especially because they're doing it. If you look at stats and stuff, they're not doing it with a superstar. They don't have any leader and any, you know, but they do, but not as much as you would expect with a team that you figure has a shot at winning a championship.
well, I mean, this isn't a team that has LeBron James or has Dwayne
Exactly.
Wade or a Harden or or anybody like that. This
That's
is
a
a
box they can't check.
No, this is one of those teams that gets by based on the fact that they are more than the sum of their parts when they all work together and everything clicks. And the fact that they're really a very, very composed and level-headed team when it comes to this sort of thing.
And the
Um,
opposite can be said of Philadelphia.
Now, I did see Joel Embiid complaining about having a foul called against him after he ran over one of our players underneath the basket, and I loved to hear them getting booed off the court at the end of the first
Oh
half.
my,
But
that was
there's a lot of work to do still. There's 2 games left in the
that
series,
was amazing.
so
I want to also mention, and we didn't talk about the CFL's new rules. They've changed a bunch of rules, the hash marks. Um, there's some really interesting rules. You can have 2 quarterbacks on the field at once, and there's a lot of interesting rules. We'll talk about that next time. We'll get into that. Let's talk about some shenanigans that are going on. I know you love your shenanigans. Let's start with Marvel shenanigans.
Right. So, as you may well know, Elon Musk has put up $46.5 million in order to, sorry, $1 billion in order to buy Twitter.
Oh boy.
This didn't sit well with a lot of folk. One of them being Simu Liu, who asked on Twitter, "Was there nothing better to do with $44 billion?" Some people said, "Well, it's his money. He can do whatever he wants with it. Him buying Twitter is like you buying a candy bar." And it's like,
Well,
well,
free
I mean, I
speech.
can understand that, but
It's there is there is one of those situations. It's like you either like the idea that he's doing it or you don't. There does not seem to be a middle road, generally speaking.
no, there really doesn't seem to be, and it's unfortunate, but like this is one of those cases where it's like you could probably find something better to do with your money.
Now, the one thing he did say that I think is really important is that he wants to eliminate bots.
Well, he also wants your personal information.
Well, you
So
can take a hike there.
he wants everybody on Twitter to send him proof of their identity, which means driver's license, passports, that sort of thing. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is not going to happen. If that's what's going to happen with Twitter once he buys it, I'm done. So
Well, that is something that needs to be considered. And the point being, I mean, if I can defend that point, at least you know who's really talking, because the one thing that I find with the internet and with Twitter and Facebook and such, there are people on there who aren't who they represent, and then they can say whatever they want, and they think they're bulletproof, right? Well, when you have that kind of stuff going on, and then at the end of the day, Aaron, there's got to be something that makes people accountable for what they say. Um, you know, Intentionally misleading people, intentionally lying, intentionally trying to hurt people. All those things are covered on the street. They're just not covered on the internet.
no, and I understand your point completely, but at the same time, just strictly from a devil's advocate point of view, free speech.
I hear you.
I should
I
be
hear you.
allowed to say whatever I want.
No,
I
no, you
don't believe I
shouldn't. You
should be
see that
exposed.
we can go on for about an hour here.
Oh, I
No, you
know.
shouldn't be
It's far
allowed to
too
say
easy.
whatever you want.
And again, I'm only playing the devil's advocate here, friend.
I
You
know you
know
are.
I
I
don't
know you
actually
are.
believe that.
Well, I hope not, because no one's entitled to say whatever they want. I mean, people should have, there should be accountability. You can't, this is an old saw. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. I don't think you can yell fire in an empty theater. I mean, I don't know, that doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, if there isn't one, is the point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, we can save that one for later. The point is, Elon Musk is not exactly a guy you can trust 100%, because he's a guy who shut down employees from offering free speech. So, it's not like he's willing. I think what we can safely say, and I think we can agree on, even your alter ego and my alter ego can agree on, Elon Musk believes in free speech. His. New census data offers snapshot of Canada's transgender population.
Now, newly released census data actually shows 0.33% of Canadians aged 15 or older, or about 100,000 people, identify as transgender or non-binary. This is new information from Stance Canada, which gives us an unprecedented look at this. Um, so it's about time that the census acknowledges these different sorts of things, and I'm glad to see the change.
Well, that's fair. Justice Minister invokes cabinet secrecy around use of Emergencies Act. So they're trying to keep something secret here, Aaron. What's up with that?
Well, David Lametti has repeatedly invoked cabinet confidentiality. And while the government has received advice to revoke the declaration, on multiple occasions he responded, "We would not betray cabinet confidence." Now, this has obviously been a central concern for the Conservatives since the launch of a separate public entry into the use of the Emergencies Act. Both the committee, by the way, and the inquiry are not out of the ordinary. This is actually written into the Emergencies Act that you have to do that after 60 days. But as to the wider implications of this, it may just be that they may not want to discuss everything that's currently under investigation.
Mail in Vancouver, they're having issues there in downtown Vancouver. What's going on there?
Well, it's Vancouver's downtown east side, formerly known as Crackton and Hoboville. There are some concerns apparently for Canada Post employees' safety in those particular areas. Now, Canada Post hasn't exactly specified exactly what it is that they're concerned about there, but there's about 550 to 600 residents that haven't received their mail in about a month. And there
We'll
are
leave
some
it.
folks in there that depend on the mail.
We'll leave it there, Aaron. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you do.
Thanks, Frank.
For Aaron William Freeland, I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live, Aaron. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take note, Leaf Talk comes back on Thursday. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao for now.